Hi everyone, this is Mary, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to make a multi-step form to register users and show previews of the entered data. Before we start, check your subscription to our channel so you don't miss our new tutorials, and we will be glad if you support us with a like under this video. Let's get started! In order to make a multi-step registration form, I want to add some additional fields to the user profile. For this purpose, I want to create a meta box for users in JetEngine. I want the user to fill out a resume about himself, contact information, information about his work experience, studies, as well as his skills and some additional information. You don't have to add the same fields. You can use this tutorial depending on your needs. Once you have the fields ready, let's proceed to make the form. Go to JetFormBuilder and New. Be sure to give the form a name so you don't lose it. Since this is a multi-step form, I will add a heading block to sign each step. The first step is for the user to add details about themselves. Also, to mark each step, I will add a progress bar that will indicate what page we are on. The form itself will be divided into two columns. To achieve this, we need to use columns block. Add fields in each column. First, I will add two text fields for first name and last name. Two more text fields for the phone number. In the settings of the field, need to specify that it will be a phone number. And email. The same need to change in the settings of the field, type to mail. Also, in the first column, I will add a media field for the user avatar. In the field itself, you need to specify that the image can add only registered user. Also, a date of birth, so that only adults can fill out the form. I will limit the date field that would not be able to choose a date after a certain year. The last field will be number, so that the user can indicate what salary he expects. This will be step 1. Now we need to add a widget for page breaks. You can add custom text for the next and previous page, as well as label for the progress bar. Let's proceed to the second block of our form, the block about user's work experience. I also want to divide the form into two columns. In the first, I will add a text field for the name of the position, as well as a field for the name of the company, basic to describe the work experience, number field to indicate how much the user has worked at this position, and this is the whole second block. Then we add a form page break block and set up custom label if needed. On the third page, the user will need to add details about his education. Since in the meta box I added a repeater for this purpose, in the form it will be repeater too. The name of the repeater should be exactly the same as in the meta field. In the repeater, it's necessary to add a field for the name of the institute, specialization, city or country of study, level of study, as well as two date fields to indicate the beginning and graduation from the institute. All names should match names in the meta box. In the same block, I want that it would be possible to select skills. For this, add another repeater with a select field inside by glossary source, so the users will be able to choose as many options as they want. Checkbox field for language selection, and 2 columns where the user can mark to make his resume open to all or private. As well as indicate whether he's open for full-time, part-time or remote job. This was the last block for adding information. Adding forms page break block. The last step, I want the user to create the password for the account. For this I will use 2 text fields. In the settings of the field itself, be sure to specify that it should be a password field type. Now we add the last form page break, and we can start create preview of our form. In order to show the data from the form field, you can use several ways. Calculated field, using it, you can not only show the information, but also duplicate it in another meta field. And second way is using HTML widget, also suitable for heading, button, field label, and so on. Let's take a closer look at each option. Add a calculated field, give it a name, and be sure to specify the type of value as string. This needed to pass the value from another field. In the calculated field itself, we need to select the field we want to display. You can use the range to see the list of all fields. Add a field. I want to display in the first line at once 2 fields, first name and last name. So I selected these fields from the list and make sure to insert single quotes at the beginning and at the end. There are all the settings for the calculated field. Easy, isn't it? You can also customize style settings for this field in different ways. Let's repeat the same steps with the phone number field. Add a calculated field, give it a name. I'll make the style settings right away. Put the value type on string, add the name of the form field to the formula field, and wrap it in single quotes. Great! Now you know how easy it is to use the first method. Let's look at the HTML field option. Add HTML block to the form. And to help you, use our tutorial how to use global macro in the form. There we have described in details what are the ways. In the meantime, copy the macro from the tutorial and add it to our block. Don't forget to change the field name to the name of the field you want to display. To add styles to this block, you can add CSS to this field. To divide the information into zones, I will use a separator block. Let's repeat the settings of the HTML field. Add a block, copy the macro, and change the name of the field to what we need. In this case, it's a repeater field, so additionally in the macro, we need to add a repeater template name. As well as later, we will need to add code to display the repeater itself on the front-end page. Let's repeat the same settings for the repeater with skills. In the last block, I want to display the field for language and radio fields. Since these are fields with options, they require slightly different settings. Let's start with the calculated field. Set up the field value as string and make style settings. In order to show label options instead of value, we need to use a special free add-on. The link to it you will find in the description. Download this add-on and install it on WordPress through plugins Add New. This add-on allows you to use a macro for the option label. Copy the macro from the guide for the calculated field and paste it in the form. Don't forget to replace the field name with yours, as well as put single quotes at the beginning and the end. Let's try to do the same things in HTML block. Go back to the guide, copy the HTML macro and paste it into the form block. Replace the field name with the field you want to show. Also, you can add any plain text to the HTML widget. That's all of our form. Now we need to add a submit button and customize the actions. I will use the register user action. You can see how to configure it correctly by clicking on the tooltip. After customizing the action, we save the form and go to edit on the front-end page. I will create a new static page for this purpose. Add JetFormWidget, select the form we just created from the list. This is not all the settings we need to do. In order to display the repeater field, we need to add custom code here. For this, use the second link in the description, copy the whole snippet and add it to the page using HTML widget. Now we can save the changes and check how our form works. Let's fill in each field in the form. I will create resume for Sarah Williams. Create a password and go to the preview. In the preview, we can see all the data we added, the user's contact information, all the fields from the repeater, as well as label of the checkbox and radio fields. Now you know how easy it is to show a preview of the form content before submitting it. Use any option that suits you best. Give this video a like, share in the comments whether you will use it, and see you in the next videos. Cheers!